Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and I've got three pretty cool articles that popped up today, and I want to share with you parts from each of them. Rather cool stuff. One that jumped out at me first was this article from Daily Hodl, and it's about Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse, and they worded it like this: Ripple chief predicts dramatic crypto market transformation in 2020, says world doesn't need 2,000 digital assets. I've got that. I've got an article from you today. Ripple's XRP called brilliant technology that thrives off Swift's failures by a prominent economic analyst. And here's a cool one too. Take a look at this. This is from AMB Crypto. BitTrue lists 27 new XRP-based trading pairs. And so, as is the case almost every single day, too much news about Ripple and XRP, so I'm going to run through select portions of these. There's just too much to talk about here. Now, a couple of the segments referenced in these articles I had talked about a bit, but still, it's always cool to get different takes and kind of expand upon thoughts anyway. And there are always quotes that, it depends who covers it. There's always different quotes cited in different pieces anyway. But I'll tell you what, crypto media has quite the thirst for Ripple and XRP news. They're all over the freaking place. More so, fine, Bitcoin's in the headlines too, but beyond that, you see a little bit of Ethereum. But I tell you, out of the top 10 cryptocurrencies, man, it's XRP, baby, just all day. It's constantly reported on. There is something to this. People are clamoring for news around it. That could not be more clear. That's why they're doing it. But before we go any further, if you would please delicately tap that like button, and if you are a fan of Ripple and XRP, then you know something that most of the world doesn't, if I had to guess. Because again, this is an XRP-centric channel after all, so I feel like if you're listening, you probably feel like me, that you found something before the rest of the world did. An investment opportunity. Now, of course, I don't offer financial advice, no financial background, but I'm just sharing an opinion. I suspect, if I had to guess, most of you out there, other than the occasional Bitcoin maxi troll, probably feel the same as me. So anyway, consider subscribing to the Moon Lambo channel if you haven't, because I am putting XRP and Ripple-related content out there every day. So Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse is dropping a set of bold predictions for the new year. In a roundup on what may come in the year ahead, the head of the Silicon Valley payments company, which owns more than half of the total supply of XRP, says he believes the crypto market at large is set to shrink. Now, that conceptually makes a ton of sense. Is there anybody out there that doesn't think that's going to happen? Now, what they're talking about is the number of digital assets out there, not the dollar value. But anyway, Garlinghouse says a long list of digital assets will likely fall by the wayside as the market searches for utility and real-world use cases. And here's a quote: "The world doesn't need 2,000 plus digital assets. Well, I don't think there will be one coin to rule them all. It's clear that if an asset doesn't have a proven use case beyond speculation, it is not going to thrive." And that's why, conceptually to me, one of the first things that I realized after entering the world of crypto in November of 2017, so a little over 2 years ago, it's just this fundamental problem of, okay, so these are all crypto quote-unquote currencies, and of course you enter thinking, okay, so they're supposed to be used in the place of money, but even if that's not the intent, you got to ask yourself, why are there over 2,000 cryptocurrencies, and if they're not all going to be used in the place of money, why are there native digital assets on these blockchains in the first place? Why? It's a money grab. I know the answer now. But fundamentally, it's like, do you want to have to use a different type of money for every different type of thing that you could purchase? Do you go to the store and use grape money when you want to buy grapes? Do you use hamburger helper money when you want to buy hamburger helper? Do you use steak money when you want to buy steak? Okay, no. Then why do you have to use Ethereum money when you want to buy an Ethereum smart contract? That's the whole fundamental problem. Why do you need a new type of money for every different type of project, every different project that's out there in the first place? And to me, it never made any sense, and by and large, still doesn't over 2 years later. I kept asking the question, why, in the early days, and I'd never get an answer. And eventually, after being in the space long enough, I realized I'm not getting an answer because there isn't one. It's stupid. Okay, it's stupid. The reason people are throwing money is because they're treating it like it's like you're owning stock in a company. Well, that's part of it anyway. And obviously not so much the case there, but that's how people have been treating it anyway. But anyway, last month, Garlinghouse told Bloomberg he thinks the value of nearly all cryptocurrencies on the market will eventually become worthless. And here's a quote from him. I've said publicly before that I think 99% of all crypto probably goes to zero. But there is that 1% that I think is focused on solving a real problem for real customers and is able to do that at scale. And what do you think he's talking about there? Could XRP be part of that 1%? Well, I would think so, given that he's the CEO of Ripple and one of the loudest cheerleaders for the XRP ecosystem. And I think that's a rather rational, thoughtful analysis of the actual landscape of crypto. That's the direction we're headed here. All right, now next, so this next piece, Ripple's XRP called brilliant technology that thrives off Swift's failures. Now, I want to scroll down to part of this because I mentioned this guy the other day. I actually just follow him on Twitter today, Jeffrey A. Tucker. He kind of described, he was described online as, what was it? Well, he's a strong Bitcoin proponent, but kind of like anarcho-capitalist guy, something along those lines, I think is what I read. And interestingly enough, I agree with a lot of what he has to say. But I'll tell you this, he's one of those proponents for just the idea of Bitcoin being just replacing fundamentally currency in general. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I've explained that on this channel many times. You're not going to get the whole world to come into unison and just back that, because people want to promote their own agendas. It's not going to happen. It will never happen. But he had some good points as far as just the idea of, even if the world starts to shift towards that, even if it's just some cryptocurrencies being used in the place of money, which to me that sounds reasonable. It's just not going to be one to rule the entire world. That part could potentially make sense as enough time passes, volatility goes away, technological hurdles are overcome. That's reasonable. Another thing that's reasonable is something that I haven't mentioned that he stated on the channel, but to me it makes a ton of sense. And so there's this little subheading. This is the part I wanted to talk about. XRP is not a security. As reported by you today, there is a pending class action lawsuit against Ripple over illegal sales of XRP tokens. When asked to weigh in on XRP's status as a security, Tucker vehemently opposed classifying it as one. He claimed that federal security laws in the U.S. didn't pertain to such cutting-edge technologies, and here's a quote from him. What we are trying to do is reclassify these super modern 21st century technologies in old 20th century categories. It doesn't actually make any sense. Now, that I can certainly agree with. Later, he continued saying that the only reason why the SEC kept doing that was to keep regulations and save the bureaucrats there. And that's why the point that I like to make on this topic is Ripple, selling an unregistered security. No, but from a regulatory perspective, part of the reason there's a problem conceptually here is because to me it's just a flat out certainty and rather obvious that existing regulation just can't cover this type of technology. It's something that wasn't foreseen. It's like trying to fit what do they say, like a square into a circle hole, something to that effect, blah blah blah. Okay, well, yes, because here's the thing: anything that the SEC has regulated in the past, it didn't have certain qualities that cryptocurrencies have, as in it can go from more decentralized to less decentralized, for example. That was not a thing before. That was not. And so you can imagine if there's a high degree of centralization and there's a cryptocurrency that has value that's being sold, well, that starts to sound like a security. But if it's sufficiently decentralized, a security of what then? And so there aren't laws on the books that fundamentally address that. This is a sliding scale. If something can go from centralized to decentralized and the inverse of that, So until that's addressed, we don't have a sufficient regulation. That's just one of the things. But hopefully that will be figured out. And that's why when Jay Clayton was talking about how they don't want to change the route that they were going, to paraphrase him, but he made it clear they didn't want to change the route that they're going, and all these years of regulation on the books. When he said that about a year and a half ago, I started thinking, oh my God, we're nowhere near a solution to this if he's saying nonsense like that, because that's not going to work. You can't shoehorn this technology into an existing regulatory framework. All right, next, here's a tweet from XRP Australia. Obviously, everyone in this XRP community will be trying to convince family and friends XRP is the greatest digital asset ever created over your Christmas dinner/holiday period. What I want to know is, what is your convincing argument for them to invest? Please share below. And then he tagged Mr. B XRP. Now, Jet Ski XRP responded and ended up tagging me, along with fellow XRP YouTubers The Bearable Bull and Kevin Cage. And here's what he wrote. I just tell them to check it out, leave it at that. Some people are not ready. Success happens when preparedness and opportunity meet. No amount of talk will ever change that. If I like them, I send them a vid from the rock stars, The Bearable Bull, Kevin Cage, and Moon Lambo. So anyway, that's nice. So I'm a rock star. That's what's up. That's what's up. You know that if you're listening. No. I just wanted to give a shout out. I really do appreciate that. Those are very kind words from you. And yeah, feel free to pass along any Moon Lambo content that you'd like. Now, from my perspective, I remember when I started learning about crypto, I was maybe too excited about it. Maybe I still am too excited about it. I don't know. I spend too much time on this, I acknowledge that, but I have fun doing it. But I was telling all sorts of people about it, this and that, and some people, not that I was telling people what to do with their money, I've never done that, but some people did invest, and it was towards the run-up of the crypto asset class, and nobody ever gave me grief over it. I also didn't tell people what to do, I was just talking about it. And I certainly don't want any level of responsibility for people's investments. I would like that, especially if it's family and friends out of my life. So I'm not willing to, try and preach this type of thing to them. I'm just not going to do it. If somebody wants to have a conversation with their family or friends, that's cool, and I'm willing to talk about that. But I'm not going to do it in a way that would be like, yeah, you should get into this, because I don't want that type of responsibility. So that's just my humble opinion. But you guys, you do you, as they say. All right, next. Here we go. There's a tweet from Kevin Cage. I might have shared this on the channel. I definitely remember reading it. When XRP inevitably rises, I will not thank the self-proclaimed Riddlers/insiders. I will thank myself for doing my own research using basic logic and having patience. If these Riddlers are right, that is just icing on the cake I'm holding regardless. And then at CryptoMatt456 responded, I will thank guys like you, Moon Lambo, and Working Money Channel for keeping my eyes on the prize. I have always been confident in the choice. I just wish I had found XRP 6 to 9 months earlier than I did. Would have been sweet to get in at sub 1 cent. Yeah, I would have loved to have gotten in that early too. And so Matthew, that's at CryptoMatt456, shout out to you. Thank you very much for mentioning me there. I do appreciate it. And of course, to be clear again here, as far as keeping eyes on the prize, I'm happy to share my opinion, but I do not offer advice as far as to whether or buy or sell, because I just don't want that kind of responsibility. But that said, I did want to highlight this because I just thought it was nice that you tagged me there in what you wrote, though. But I tell you, if I could have gotten in just a little bit sooner, because I was November of 2017, that would have been sweet. Beginning 2017 in particular, if I could have get it right about then, that would have been pretty nice. I just found out about this all a little bit later, but such is life. All right, lastly here, AMB Crypto, BitTrue lists 27 new XRP-based trading pairs. And another boost for XRP ecosystem, BitTrue, a Singapore-based cryptocurrency exchange, announced that it will soon list 27 new XRP pairs on its platform. With XRP as the base pair, the first 14 coins to be paired with it will be open for deposits and withdrawals starting on the 23rd of December. The official blog post also revealed that the trading for the pairs will go live on December 25th. That's Christmas. For the remaining 13 XRP paired coins, deposits and withdrawals will begin on January 9th, 2020, following which trading going live on January 13th. And so, and so here's an official tweet. BitTrue's official tweet read, "A small little gift for the XRP community this Christmas. We have 27 new XRP pairs coming soon, with 14 of them arriving on Christmas. In total, this brings us up to 77 XRP pairs. All the coins and listings schedules here, which are that's on the screen right now. And so this is good for XRP liquidity. So I just thought I'd highlight it. Cool little way to wrap up the video. But that's it for this one. Thanks so much for stopping by. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything, because if anything I say or write, that would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.